Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have Langley coach Bo Amato, whose team plays in the Virginia State semifinals tomorrow against Landstown at 1:30 at Battlefield High School. Welcome, coach.
I think it's Freedom High School, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's Freedom High School. Yeah, make sure we get that right. Freedom High School. So all you kids who are not in school, make sure you make it down there and support Langley. And the ones in school, maybe they can sneak out for a couple hours as well. Yeah, but welcome, coach.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the game. So you guys played Lewis in the quarterfinals on Tuesday, and unbelievable game. I think the last 12 minutes of that game may have been amongst the best I've ever witnessed live of any sport. It was unbelievable. Where does that game rank amongst the exciting games you've been a part of? Because you've been involved in soccer since 1980, around there.
Yeah, in terms of obviously recently, it's without question one of the most exciting. But we are, in fact, what's interesting. Obviously, their goalkeeper equalised with seconds to go off the corner, which was really, from my perspective, quite demoralising. But from a neutral and from obviously their fans, fantastic. But our own goalkeeper scored against years ago. A goalkeeper called Alex Bearcat scored a great goal for us to equalise against McLean. So I've been on the receiving. We've given it out as well as we've received it. So yeah, the game was a back and forth. I felt we did really well first half and kind of controlled everything, and then second half I thought that Lewis sort of climbed their way back in the game and became more dangerous. And it looked like it was a one-goal game. And then obviously Owner scored that terrific goal off the corner with 2 minutes to go, and the team celebrated like they'd won, which was petrifying for me because I watched them sprint down the field, wasting their energy, which they didn't have any left anyway. And then obviously 2 minutes later, we've conceded the goal, and then now we go into extra time, and anything can happen. And really, they're up and we're down. The only thing I said to the players, pretty much the only thing I said to the players right before we went into half-time, I said, you feel that feeling? I said, that feeling that, we just threw it all away. I said, you think that's bad? Just wait to see how bad it is if we actually lose. So I don't know whether those were the right words or the wrong words, but obviously we were fortunate on the night.
Well, we'll get back to those goals because I want to talk about all three in depth. What did you think about Lewis? Did they fit the scouting report that you were able to get about them? Any big surprises in the game?
They were a good side, probably the best side we played. I'd say the three top sides we played. The four top sides we played so far are the two Arlington schools, Yorktown and Washington Liberty, and then Lewis were tremendous. I mean, they had pace, they were dangerous. Where they were a little different, I think, than other teams, maybe because the game meant more. But every single one of their players gave 110%. Right? Every 50-50 ball was really a 50-50 ball. Every 60-40 ball in our favour became a 50-50, and every 60-40 in their favour became a 50-50, because that's kind of the way we play. So I was really impressed, and the game was physical, hard but clean. There was no stupid rubbish going on. It was just two teams trying to win a game of football, and it was fantastic to watch.
Now, for the kids, and we talked offline about this, I know some of your kids, you asked them how this compared to some of their other great moments in soccer when they're playing high-level club. Both teams have a lot of high-level club players. How do you think the game was played compared to a high-level club game? It's, technically, I thought the game was very good. Two of the goals were incredibly technical and well done, goals you'd see on TV. But generally, how do you think the game was played in terms of intensity and technical level?
I think for U18s, our home field's a little bit too small, only a little bit. So it does take away some space from the players. So therefore, it diminishes time, which means people have to get the ball off their feet a little bit quicker because they're going to get closed down a bit quicker. But there's a lot. I mean, there's lots of players that were playing that are going off to college, Division 1 and Division 3. They play for ECNL, national and regional league teams or MLS Next teams. So or they left MLS next team so they could play. Maybe I should clarify that. But they played. So when people turn around and say, well, how does it compare? It's the same thing. The beauty of it is you've got the ability of a 16-year-old kid to play with 18-year-old players if he's good enough. And we have a few, and I think they did really well. So I thought it was a terrific match. I mean, it was, I think at moments it was a bit of a stalemate, a bit boring because there's a lot of probing and the final ball wasn't quite good enough because the defending from both teams was frantic enough to prevent that final ball being more effective. And, maybe the heat, maybe the occasion. It was a little bit warm and the weather was changing. 1 minute it was raining, then it stopped raining, then it was windy, then it was, so it was all over the place. But, I thought the quality was pretty good for vast stretches.
Yeah, so there was a whiteout night. That was the theme for Langley. So a lot of the kids had white T-shirts on. And then when it rained so hard for a while, a lot of the kids had to leave. It was so uncomfortable. I was there, after a while, I was just getting destroyed. I had a rain jacket and a baseball cap, but I'm like, do I really want to sit here for this whole game? The best decision I ever made was staying. So the game, I agree with you. It was a stalemate. You guys were more dangerous in the air, but they're the kind of team, it doesn't take much for them to get through on goal. So it was always, to me, it was always on edge that it can change quickly. But anyway, we're getting to the last few minutes in regulation. And, you could see penalties coming in this game. I was just thinking about the penalty kicks. And then you guys score an unbelievable header in under 2 minutes. Why don't you talk about that goal a little bit?
Yeah, I think we'd had a phase with about 5 or 6 minutes to go where we'd had 4 corners in a row, and it led to nothing. It was quite frustrating. We were just piling on the pressure late in the game to try and get that goal. But the concerning factor was, for me, each time we were getting more aggressive, and I'm looking at the numbers going the other way and recognizing the counterattack speed from Lewis. So I'm trying to pull players out and change their positioning a little bit, but it was so loud nobody could hear. So the corner was a great delivery from Carlos, and Ona is one of our captains and been tremendous and heading off to play Division 1 football. And he rose back post and in a crowd and a header into the top corner. It was a terrific header, aggressive. He wanted to do it. He wanted to get in there. And frankly, he's been trying to avoid these situations because he's come back from an injury. But, at the end of the day, when the game's on the line, players' adrenaline takes over. And obviously he scored a terrific header. If you see goals like that professionally and in college, you think it's a great goal. But it wasn't a typical youth corner where the ball comes in with snow on it and it's up in the air for 6 hours. And I mean, it was really whipped in like a man, and it was a great delivery, and it was banged in with an attacking header. So it was a really good goal.
And where's he going to college next year?
I think it's. You know what? I'm embarrassed. I've actually forgotten it.
Okay, no problem. Well, Carlos Calderon is a tremendous player. He's only a sophomore with a delivery. It was an awesome delivery. So you guys score. The place goes absolutely crazy, and I'm right near the celebration. I got good pictures of it. It was amazing. This is a great moment. So Langley is going to advance to the Final Four. It's done. The game is over. Lewis has not been that dangerous most of the game. So we go back and we start playing again. It's got to be under a minute to go, probably right around a minute. And they have a long throw. And they have a tremendous long thrower named Steven Velasquez, who's the right back. I think a former DC United guy, but definitely been in Arlington DA. He's on the U19 team. Great player. Throws in a just incredible throw right to the far post. Their goalie, I didn't even notice it. The goalie had snuck up, and he's their all-region goalie, Baroness, I believe the last name's correct. And he's got the bright green shirt on and he sticks out. And so you guys had defended in the box so well. And to me, you guys were very physical. I mean, when they tried to dribble, you guys not only were moving your feet, you were banging them. I mean, you were giving them nothing in near the box. All of a sudden, the ball comes, and it's happened so fast. And I'm describing it because I've seen the replay. I didn't even know what was going on live. Well, the ball goes to one of the Lewis players, and he's being guarded, but loosely, not as physical as you guys have been guarding. All of a sudden, this kid just kind of flicks the ball back to the goalie, and he passed the ball to the goalie. I thought maybe he just rebounded to him. No, your goalie had smacked the ball and was on the ground. I'm there, gets up. This kid on Lewis flicks the ball to the goalie. The goalie is just sitting there. He's not like, panicked. He's just so calm. He moves over into space, gets the pass calmly. And this goalie doesn't even take his own goal kicks, slots it into the upper right-hand corner. Unbelievable. And then the Lewis crowd just rushes over. I mean, this moment was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was, after we scored, their coach, John, really nice guy, sort of gave me a salute. Congratulations on win, maybe winning, right? So as soon as they scored, I've turned to him after the celebration, calm down. I've gone to shake his hand and said, I guess this is going to go longer. What a really nice guy he is. So, but from their goal, the throw-in came, and before you could see, I don't know whether players running 90 yards one direction to celebrate with all their fans and then running back because the referee's in a hurry to get the game going justifiably. I don't know if that lost concentration, but most of my players had gravitated to the front post. So really there was just Aiden left. Obviously, Armour got a piece of it. It's great when they claim, but he was crowded out. He could only get a piece. And then their goalkeeper raised his hand as if there'd been a penalty, right? So I believe, from looking at it afterwards, this is my perception, I believe that froze some of our players, because when I did watch the replay, when the goal went in, I was frustrated because I felt we didn't shut him down. But then when I've watched the replay, there's a number of green shirts sprinting towards him, trying to shut it down. It's just a great finish, So it was a really, really good finish. Top corner, calm. He didn't kill it. He placed it. So it was a really good job. So, but it's easy to praise it and say great things about it now because the result went our way. Had it not gone the other way, I probably wouldn't be quite so polite about it.
Well, 9 times out of 10 or 99 out of 100 in the box, that shot is blocked because there's just so many bodies everywhere. He was somehow able to elevate that ball to. It was just a great shot. He was so calm about it.
Yeah, when you watch the replay, it's the only place he could have put it to score, and he hit it there.
It was great. I mean, so we, we spent a lot of, you talk offline about, why we coach. It's a thankless job. We don't get paid a whole lot of money for this. And even me, I'm, here I am. I don't have a kid in the fight. As a matter of fact, I have a reason to be bitter. Our team had beaten all 4 teams in the Final Four, and I'm there just watching on a rainy night. But you ask yourself, why do we do this? Why do we care so much? At that moment, I was so glad I witnessed that goalie. It was one of the most unbelievable sporting moments I'd ever seen live. It was so unlikely. They hadn't generated anything. You guys had just scored. It was obviously going to be a 1-0 game, and all of a sudden it's a 1-1 game. You have to get your team has their head down. If you watch the replay, and the replays of all these goals are on my Instagram site at Nova Soccer Source. But you guys walk back to the lineup, to the midfield. Your heads are down, and then you bring them over. You talk to them. You just mentioned that. You said, guys, it's going to be worse if we lose this thing. And so, what was your strategy going into the extra time?
I wouldn't say it's anything dramatic. I speak to. I've got a couple of injured players. I talk to my players. I talk to my other coaches, and I try to look at how people are playing. And I think I think from a youth perspective, I've always tried to look at players like little pistons inside an engine, and it's our job to catch the pistons when they're high in the engine, and the reality is a player can play really well one game and not so well the next game. And they're young, they're changing, their bodies are changing, their minds changing. There's a lot of outside influence in their life that can change their performance. And I think you have to be aware of that. And obviously giving up that goal was a major kick in the teeth. And like you said, their heads were down, deflated. But, it's about getting people back in the huddle, a little joke, saying some things that strike home, and then saying, off we go. And then one of my players said, we don't want to play them. We don't want to have penalties with them. I said, well, then let's not bother with it. So I thought we started extra time pretty well and got stronger and stronger. And the only fear, I think, for probably most coaches is you try to play like a team and you want your players to show their flair and do well. But when things tend to go badly in football matches, sometimes people try individually too often. And if you lose the ball in the wrong place against a team like that, that's really quick, if your team is moving in a positive direction and going forward, and you give the ball away when it's late in the game and now your muscles have got to stop, turn around and go the other way, it's really difficult to recover. And I think these last two games that we go into, we're going to have, especially if I think the game tomorrow, Friday. Well, it is tomorrow, right? So then if the two teams that advance on Saturday, they're going to have to be really cautious to how they can recover when they give the ball away. So now, at the deeper you go in the season, it's more important to keep the ball as much as you can. But having said that, if you pass it around the back without any pace on it, you're inviting trouble and inviting a mistake, and you could pay the price. So I thought we did really well in extra time, and it was really a tackle from Carlos that he won the ball from them in central midfield, played a pass to Aiden, who played a one-touch pass with his not his best foot, his right foot, and the ball was sublime. It arrived, maybe it could have been a tiny bit quicker, but in reality it was a perfect pass. And Evan arrived on the ball, took a few steps, whipped a ball in. And to be honest with you, I have to be honest with you, I didn't want him to play the ball. I personally didn't want him to play the ball, but it was David Beckham-esque, the cross, and the rise to head it was just a determined young man to get on the end of it. And the next thing you know, it's gone in, and jubilation. It was a really, really like another proper goal. We've scored so many garbage goals all year long. I'll be honest with you, because we're not prolific. I haven't got a Jacob Labowitz that's scoring 50 goals, or a Sam Golan. We've scored a lot of hungry goals, getting the ball in the box and finding second balls. And we've had a few good goals. We've had some good goals too, but we have had a lot of goals where we get inside the six and we want to find out who wants to be a man. So, but the two goals we scored were, you said it in the interview the other day, you said we're really good in the air in the final third, attacking. And I thought we're okay, but you kind of proved the point. You know more about my team than I do. So maybe you should coach them next year.
Oh yeah, well, I wouldn't be a very good coach, but unfortunately, I know too much about your team, coach, and I learned the hard way. But I want to talk more about this goal. I want to give you your due, and also your team your due. First of all, you made a big personnel decision late in the season. You moved Dante. What's his last name again? Dante Desato. He's a center back. He's a center back, a high level ECNO center back. Moved him to striker, gave you some size and some speed. And I guess you were able to do that because Onana came off injury, so you're able to put him in. So Carlos made an unbelievable first pass. If you don't know soccer very, very well, and I'm just learning, the first pass sometimes could be very simple, but it could open everything up. And he made that first pass without taking a touch, got the ball out of danger, gets the ball to Evan or Ethan or Evan.
He got it. No, he got it to Aiden.
Aiden, that's right. Aiden's pass was unbelievable in composure. This is late in the game. There's probably under 30 seconds to go in the second overtime. We're headed towards golden goal overtime. He makes that pass. I don't even know how he knew the guy was there. Maybe he just guessed that he could be there and nobody's hurt. No one's hurt if he's not there. Makes just a sublime pass, weighted it perfectly. I think it's perfect. You wanted a little more on it. I thought it was a dream. I thought it was a dream.
If I'm being greedy, yeah, but it was perfect.
I think you're being greedy. But the cross, I mean, we talked about this offline. You don't see many early crosses in the high school game or even the youth game. So what as you say with crosses, just like you said with corner kicks, they usually hang in the air, and then you guys have a couple guys in your team that can really jump. The redhead kid and some other guys. That's the kind of cross you see at a high school game. This was an early cross taken probably 25 yards from the touchline. He curls the ball in, and for the header, I mean, this is the kind of header that goes over, that goes through. They don't put this header on target in the game. It was an unbelievable header by a guy that's not even really a striker. I mean, it was a goal that you would see in the Premier League, and it was in the final seconds of overtime. For your team to execute, it had to be perfect. Carlos, Aiden, the cross, the header, all four had to be perfect or it doesn't happen. And you had to beat the all-region player of the year to score. So it was an unbelievable play.
It was a great goal. I mean, I have to take a feather out of Sean Burke's cap years ago with TJ when they won a state title. He took a striker from McLean, a big lad who played centre back from McLean. He turned him into a striker. And I think some of the things that Dante does when he plays up front, they're natural. He holds the ball up and gets it back into play. A lot of youth players always turn into pressure, and we end up giving the ball away, or it's unnecessary to always go forward. And Dante does a great job. If you look during the night, he did a fantastic job holding it up and getting it back in the midfield. Very, very rarely giving it away by being selfish. And that's not by having a million conversations with me. That's just by having one conversation. But at centre back, he's tremendous. Right? I mean, he's a really good centre back. And Owner coming back and being able to play with Cole, that gave us the ability to change. We tried Owner up top earlier in the year and he broke his arm, so he's not going to go up there anymore. Wow. So he's not going to risk him for that. But no, it was a terrific goal. The pass from Aiden was fantastic. The little aggression from Carlos to win the ball and get it off his feet, and Aiden to play that. When you see a player play a first time ball, when you play 1 and 2 touch, it's tremendous. And that's a skill unto its own. And I think sometimes we don't respect 1 and 2 touch football players as much as we respect players that dance on the ball. Typically, if you're playing 1 and 2 touch, you're probably not giving it away unless you've had a bit of a nightmare. And that's keeping possession, that's moving the ball around. And then can you start to do that at pace and quickly? And then everything starts to change. But the kids did to play that well that late in a game when you're that tired. It goes to show they're actually very good players, because if they're mentally fatigued and still making the right decisions, that you have to sort of pat them on the back for that. So
yeah,
that's
go ahead.
Obviously they've had good club training at the clubs they've been at, and it's great they come out and play for Langley.
Exactly, and they had to be demoralized by having the game was in their grasp, and so they're in the overtime. Lewis has all to play for. Langley has every reason to be a little bit discouraged, and to make that play with all those considerations is incredible. And also, when you think about it, do you really want to go to penalties with a more inexperienced keeper who's done a great job? Amir's had a great season against a very experienced all-region player of the year. If I'm Langley, I want to try to win that. I want to try to win that without going to the penalty. So I think it was just a great way to finish.
Yeah, that was Cole Fisher was screaming that before we went into extra time, before the play. We do not want to play these guys at penalties. Let's win it now. Those were Cole Fisher's words. And the funny thing was, when we did score with seconds to go, only half the team ran down the field to celebrate. The other five grew up and said, "I'm not running 75 yards. I'm going to save my energy for the remaining part of the game." So that was quite amusing, but I was still pretty upset with the other 5 that sort of ran down there celebrating.
Well,
so
it made a good photo, so I'm glad they did. So, well, we got to leave all that behind. As great as it is, it's going to mean so much more if you can continue on here. So Lansdowne beat Osborne, which probably was one of the favorites going into the state tournament, and they destroyed everyone pretty easily. But Lansdowne came on the road, 180 miles, and won a game up here. So do you know anything about them? And what?
No,
yeah,
I don't know anything, but I do know that the teams in Virginia Beach, they've got good youth clubs down there, and the kids can sort of gravitate to the school they want to go to a certain level. They can transfer one time. So teams tend to get pretty stacked down there in the Richmond and Virginia Beach area. So we'll have a battle on our hands. It'll be hard. It's about trying to get as much rest between now and when we play. And I'll try to find out a few things. Some of my players will know things about the kids that play for certain teams, but I really don't think it's the most important thing is that we play our A game. If we lose playing at our best, then you can live with that forever. But if we don't show up and we don't work and we don't compete and we don't track back and we let a guy get in behind because we're not paying attention, then that's something you have to deal with. So if we play our way, I'm not really too bothered about who we play. Everybody you play is going to be good. Lewis was good. Yorktown was good. McLean was good. I mean, McLean have got a hard game, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them win. So there's everybody here is trying to get a result at this stage. So, and the other thing is, maybe a kid that notoriously is not their best player can be a standout player in that game. You just never know. You just never know. So, I mean, we've got an injury problem with one of our players, Gabe, and Matthew Mirabello has been really good for us this year as well. But another boy that we'll call it, he's a man, really got a young lad that plays left back called Ryan Ronkovic for us, who's been the last half of the season has been borderline ridiculously good, like absolutely ridiculous, with the ball, without the ball, putting challenges in, reading the game. and some of the things he does really well. When people are trying to switch the ball, he reads it so well and steals it time and time and time again. So I feel very. I believe in the team. I always believe in my teams, even when they're not good. I believe in them because they're all capable. All these kids in this area, they're all good players. So we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, I wish you luck. And I want to let people know that I did reach out to the McLean coach and he never got back to me. So I did offer him equal time. So last question, Coach. Again, you've won tons of big games around the world and you've played at a very high level. What does being in the state semis mean to you?
I guess I'm getting a little bit more mature and older and aging like a bad wine because I'm not as boisterous as I am. But I was really happy after the game. I noticed it really inspired me, and it'll be fantastic to win. I mean, it's not really about me, right? It's completely about the kids. I've been around forever. They're in high school. It's their team. If they win, it's their memories. They've just got memories that this fat, like slightly overweight guy with a bit of grey hair was involved in the process, right? So some of those kids last year were not very fond of me, and this year they are fond. So winning changes everything. But at the end of the day, some of the most wonderful things about us playing the extended season is, other colleges, their seasons have finished and the kids have got home for summer. And it's amazing how many old boys have come out and watched us play, and the text messages I get, and then people saying they're watching games in California where they live now, or in New York now. So when you realize what a high school, because I remember what my high school did for me, so it's the same thing, but your high school memories and your high school experiences live with you forever. So if we can extend them and make them better, then that's wonderful. And sometimes you learn some really good life lessons in adverse situations when you lose. We did a lot of losing last year, so I don't want them to do that this year, if that makes sense. So it was terrific to see the old boys when they come out. That is, and it's so funny. They come out, and I remember them being skinny and scrawly, and now they're men. When they come out, they could probably take me in the corner and give me a good whacking if they wanted to. I mean, they got muscles on muscles, and they're just nice lads, and it's great to see their faces light up and come and see the support. They're old school. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we have some nice weather this weekend, and if whoever the winning teams on Friday play again on Saturday, which is nice. I'm glad they're doing double headers. Get you to see 2 for 1. I'm trying my best to get out there tomorrow. I got a meeting that I have to kind of push around. But anyway, Coach, I really appreciate your time. I'm still buzzing about the game Tuesday. I feel really bad for the Lewis coach. He's a great guy.
Really.
Yeah, but they're the best.
Their kids were, when we shook hands, their kids were tremendous. I mean, it's a really nice school, really nice group of people, and I think they've done a great job over there. So they deserve a big pat on the back. And not everybody can win it, and it was a lottery. We could have flipped a coin and got the same result. So I think both teams are winners that night.
Oh yeah, they were definitely in the game, but you guys got the goal. But those kids, hopefully the best soccer is in front of them, and I'm sure the coach will have many great seasons.
Without.
So anyway, Coach, thanks again for your time. Maybe we'll talk before Saturday's game.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. But if
one
not,
game at a time.
If you don't speak to me, I know why.
Yeah, exactly. I only talk to guys who win. If you don't
yeah, well, there you go, right there. All right, take care. Thanks.
Great talking to you, buddy. All right.
Cheers.